All right, trying to do something every day for the trailer. Let's see, yesterday I did the deep putty and I gave everything a rinse down, and I'm gonna have to do an acid wash on the J-rails and the trim. Got to get them really cleaned up, and I'm gonna have to straighten out some of my framing for the door. A little bent, but I think I can get that straightened out. Ordering a tool to do that. Let's see how straight I can get it. Let's see how that works out. So today I thought I'd go through the electrical, and Zora's helping me today. Zora. All right, so there's two parts of the electrical system with the trailer. One is the exterior and the other is the interior. And this trailer is set up for the interior to plug in to an external source. Now, some trailers have a 12-volt system, and that is something I want to add to this trailer, but this is the source for the internal. The external electrical comes from the car, and I've got, well, the trailer right now is set up with a 4-pin, which is interesting because this trailer has brakes and it has power going to the brakes, and I thought to have brakes on the trailer you needed a 7-pin connector to the car. So I'm a little confused by that, but let's see where this goes. I have drawn up a little bit of a schematic here for the trailer. I've got 4 wires coming in from the car. That's this part right here. And I know right now I have 2 external front lights on the trailer. These run full time when the lights are on. Those are just your side lights. And these are both connected to the white. Oh, this is white, brown, yellow, green, which is pretty standard, or black. No, it's brown. Yeah, so I'm gonna get, there's some confusion with some coloring in this system. But these 2 lights are wired correctly. Then something happens here, and somewhere in here, I think it's the white wire, but I'm gonna find out in just a bit. The white wire is split into 3. So here is the coming out of the 4-pin, running along here, and it's coming up back up here. At this point, the wires change, and I no longer have 4 wires, I have 5. I've got a black, a red, a brown, and that looks white there, but it may have been red at some point. So I've got to figure out what those are. Where originally, coming from the source, I have these 4. So somewhere in this wiring, or this cable here, and I'll take it apart in a little bit, we split into 3, and I don't know if these are the same color as the plug, but these are the 2 wires that are ultimately going to the brake, or brakes, and these 3 wires seem to be powering the lights. So we've got to see what that's about. So here's back to my schematic. For example, the light over the license plate, which is on full time, is now brown. The brakes are getting a red black and a red black. That's correct. But again, I thought I needed a 7-pin adapter to get those. The back side lights are both powered by white, and that's correct. And then the rear blinker on the driver's side is red black, and over here it's white black on the left, on the passenger side blinker. So I've got to do a little bit of work here and just sort of figure out what's happening in this wire here. So you see here, this is the white wire coming up to the side light. The side light would be about here on the side panel, and that's a full-time light. And I just need to follow each of these sets of wires. These two wires I know already are going to the brakes, both the right and the left. Gotta just make sure what's going on with that. And then here's my other 3 wires, which were split and headed to the back for both the blinkers and the license plate light and the side rear lights. So I think I'll get that all figured out. All right, now let me take you inside. That's the exterior light. And what I may do is get some new wire and make sure that all the coloring scheme is standard and matches what's to be expected. Okay, now my interior light. This is my coming from the external source. Got a 15 amp fuse here. I'm going to double check to make sure that this is all wired correctly. This is coming in. I got a hot wire and a ground. And then I've got a ground going back out to the frame here. I've got another ground going out to the external source. I've got a ground coming out here, black coming out, and white is bypassing the fuse. So I've got to double check and make sure that this is wired correctly. I haven't worked on a fuse in a while. This is running to a plug, which I did actually check, and this does work. And the plug, which is right here, has an external source, and that's this cable here. This is a set of wires which is going to run up and power the front light. I've got a white, black, and ground. And then it also goes up here, splits under the cabinet, comes out and powers this rear light. Again, white, black, and ground. So that all looks good, as long as I can double check the fuse box here and make sure that that's wired correctly, which I think it is, because obviously the external plug works. And I do have a mystery light right here. All right, I got this, which just comes out to these 2 wires. What I think these folks, somewhere along the way, someone was adding a battery for internal, which is pretty common to do, where you can run some 12-volt power off a 12-volt battery, so you don't always need to be hooked up to a power source. That's something ultimately I'd like to do, is even get some solar panels, power battery, and then that battery will power some internal LEDs, so I can run those anytime off the grid. Right now, you may wonder what this is. This is a propane light. So just like your old lantern that you may have used in camping, a little gas lantern, that's what this is. This is ultimately hooked up to the propane tanks, and this would be a filament here that would fire up with the powered on propane. So you can have a nice propane light even. So that would again be off the grid type of light. So I'm not having to be plugged into a power source. All right, I think that's it. So what I gotta do is I've gotta go under the trailer, check out the actual wiring scheme to see where some of those wires go. I gotta understand why I have a 4-pin power coming from the car, but yet I have brakes that are being powered. And I need to double check that this fuse box is wired correctly. That's my task for today. All right. This is fun.